Hey everybody, welcome back. Thank you for joining us. If I say us, I mean me. So, going a little crazy, a little kooky. Anyways, without further ado, let's just jump right into this.
I'm not sure what to do for this one, so it's Dead Space.
Yep, Dead Space. Without a doubt, one of the creepiest games released in quite a long time, due in no small part to its musical environment. I mean, listen to this little snippet of a theme right here.
Cobalt, silicon, osmium.
What's really effective about this score is that, to keep with the creepy atmosphere of things, the music doesn't usually get quite loud, known as fortissimo in the music world, unless something's going on, so for the most part it just remains as this looming, ominous sinking feeling that something is going to go pretty crazy wrong times. Or it just remains as complete silence, which happens a lot and I'll get into that. Now, the themes that, when they did occur, that happened, made the player's hair stand on edge and their eyes go wide with anticipation and pure terror. Very effective for sure, and the game hasn't even technically started yet. I mean, we're not there yet, we're not to the gameplay. The music continues that way for a while though, and takes a similar role throughout different parts of the game. Quiet, ominous, and just downright eerie, or completely silent. However, when things actually start to happen, whoa! Now the music is taking on this gigantic fortissimo volume, and the strings are going nuts with atonality and dissonance and arrhythmic things. Holy crap. If I was playing, I would have started freaking out, trying to rush and get out of there. The music really brings the experience of this game to life, and those choppy, quick segments of horribly dissonant string work really reinforce the moods of urgency and terror. When that stuff starts playing out of nowhere, during the middle of what would have otherwise been a quiet, calm stroll through, an infested, broken down space station, it sent some gamers back 10 feet from the surprise effect. That may be an exaggeration, but the lack of music for a majority of the game also adds to the creep factor, bringing the whole Hollywood scary movie effect to the gaming world. Leaving players anxious to find out what was going to pop out next as they walked from place to place with complete silence, other than the sound effects of the level, at any time with the potential to be interrupted by a gigantic cacophonous noise of dissonant strings and incredibly loud volume, all that really brought out the scare factor of Dead Space. Now, as far as motifs go, there aren't many. Sure, there are menu noises and little noises for picking up items, but at this stage of video game development, I'd call them sound effects. I wish there was more to write here, but I'd have to go through and explore every scene and every boss battle, each theme being more panicked and disturbing than the last, just like the bosses themselves, which would take too long. No, the only way to get a taste of some of the most effective game music due to its use of strings, percussion, incredibly dissonant and rapid harmonies, and its insane dynamic changes is to play the game. So hop to it. Go. Effective game music? Yes. And creepy as hell.
Great throw. Nice shot. I'm an announcer.
Ah, Nintendo, you're at it again. Already, we hear and see a sharp difference between this and the other games. Hear that? For one, the gamers are getting a menu theme that's short, simple, and to the point. If anything, it's very simple. Instrumentation is minor. Not to mention the motifs. For scrolling through the choices, picking a choice, then confirming a certain game mode, there are multiple different sounds. The menu theme, while hokey, does reinforce the concept of a polished but family-friendly sports game that seems pretty modern, something a person might see on ESPN or something like that. The motifs do help to make the player feel as though their choice has some sort of a meaning, but really those are mostly sound effects. Unbelievably though, Nintendo has brought back a soundtrack technique that I didn't ever think I'd see again. Mickey Mousing. If you don't remember this from the first video, it's when the player's actions directly reflect the music, i.e. Mario jumping the pitch goes up. When the player tosses the ball in the air to serve, what's heard? A motif that escalates in pitch. Nintendo doesn't ever really like to use new tricks, huh? And why should they? If it isn't broken, don't fix it. The rest of the game is pretty similar to this. Here, listen to the theme, the motif. Hear that? Woo! Goes up, just as the ball does. The lack of music during gameplay itself helps to reinforce the concept of a sports stadium, I suppose, though in reality it just helps the gamer focus on their own actions as opposed to what's going on musically, or, environmentally. Each game has its own theme, though no theme in particular really jumps out as memorable. I suppose the bowling one is very hokey and funny, and sounds a lot like jazz. Regardless, the themes that are simple stand out, and all of these themes are simple. Each level has its own theme, Mickey Mousing is brought back, and overall the game music reflects the mood of the game itself. Lighthearted, easy, and fun. Effective? Yes, definitely. And this was one of the best-selling games of the past few years. How? Why? Because Nintendo Wii. That's why.
Following in the footsteps of Shadow of the Colossus, here's another incredibly cinematic game.
Journey. Wow, listen to that. That little motif there, wow. Once again, not just a game to pick up and put down, but an experience in and of itself. I know that sounds corny, but it's true. With the use of a really mystical sounding instrumentation, different wind instruments, string instruments, synths, and light percussion, etc., the entire game feels like one large puzzle to be solved, one giant question to be answered. The use of different segments of music to act as an introduction is helpful, as well as the instrumentation, plus the melody and harmony help reinforce the mood of mystery and grandeur. Listen to that. Wow. See, now, right here, when the player is actually playing, note there's no music. That really helps to make the player feel absolutely tiny in comparison to the vastness of the world around him or her, correct? Well, that was the point. And then, when the player sees the mountain, wow. That deep, low theme on the cello or bass really makes that giant mountain in the distance just seem all the more majestic and unexplored, a thing to be discovered and surmounted. Then, the main theme kicks in and it's just perfect. I don't want to speed up any moments of this game because each second is worth, like, paragraphs of analysis. I mean, really. The lack of music at one part or the presence of only the low cello bit to represent mystery and majesty all have some larger meaning. Each moment in this game was planned out and thought up, and the music reflects that perfectly. Without any spoken dialogue throughout the entire thing, there's no choice. The music has to be top-notch. It has to be interesting, majestic, and all the other words I've been throwing around for the past however many minutes. And you know what? This music is that. Perfectly. The instrumentation, the dynamic level, and the contrast all lead into being effective game music. Is it memorable? Not really. I mean, you can't hum it. It's not something that, the music is more of a soundscape than a collection of themes that the player would then go hum to him or herself after putting the game down. But that doesn't mean it's any less effective. As far as motifs go, there are a few here or there. When the player discovers something, there are those shimmering sounds we heard earlier. When the player picks up an ability and then uses or recharges it, there's those themes again, motifs, excuse me. Each of those actions has its own motif, and others that are still to come are the same way. Once again, we hear the ability motif, which sounds positive. I don't know if I'd say happy, but mysterious, and sort of like there's a lot of power there. The use of a perfect fifth, one of the most stable intervals in music, makes the ability sound all the more powerful and majestic, yet in the scope of the game and music especially, the player's action is minor. That's why the sound isn't the loudest thing on the planet. Power-ups, or whatever they'd be called in this game, have their own little shimmering motif, but again, the main star here is the thematic usage. And the motivic usage, I suppose. In short, before I make this video 20 minutes long, how does Journey have effective game music? Well, all the ways I just listed. Does it have effective game music? Just bar none? Bottom line? Absolutely 100%. I strongly recommend that you, viewer, follow the link to this video of this playthrough and watch the entire thing. It's like a beautiful, cel-shaded movie. Or get a PS3, download the game, and play through it yourself. That's the best idea. Such a marvel. Truly a piece of art. effective game music, incredible game. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're almost done here. There's one more game I want to talk about, and then that's it. So why don't you shoot on over to part 3, and I'll meet you there.